Welcome to another OUinsider.com podcast. I'm RJ Young. I'm joined by OUI staff writer Colin Kennedy, and we're going to talk about the NFL draft, injury to a star wide receiver, and filling each one of these positions that has been left vacant by guys that have been drafted in the NFL draft. So, Colin, how you doing, man?
Oh, we're getting through it, having a good time with it, and I'm happy to be talking sports with you once again. Let's get on into it.
Right on, brother. So, a really good draft by my assessment for Oklahoma with 2 first-round selections, a third-round selection, and a second-round selection. And, I wanted to see Parnell Motley get some run, and he ends up going undrafted, signs a contract with Tampa Bay. Now, Lee Morris is still out in the wind. I hope something ends up going well for him. Same thing with Nick Basquin. But this is a weird year for undrafted free agents because we just haven't seen that many get signed for reasons I think have to do with pro days and physicals.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as you know, and as others know, I also cover North Texas because it's the area I'm from, and it's a program I'm very familiar with. And when pro days were canceled, you just knew immediately smaller schools like that were going to take major hits. And obviously a year ago, it was almost like a clearance sale when North Texas, specifically undrafted free agents, were going left and right. And now, I mean, we're talking about one of the most productive group of 5 quarterbacks in the history of football, and Mason Fine. He still has yet to find a job. But that's because what NFL scouts are saying to him, they want to see him in person. And you're not going to get that opportunity. And that's the same situation for so many other talented players. So for Parnell Motley, for Lee Morris, for Nick Basquin, and for R.J. Proctor, guys like that, it's very fortunate that they got those opportunities before all of this shut down. And still there's a level of difficulty because you just don't know how to execute these transactions with what we're dealing with. So it's really unfortunate. I'm very sad to see so many really good players and guys kind of left out in the wind, but at the same time, I'm hopeful that once this thing dies down, there will be a second wave of aggressive undrafted free agent pursuance. At the same time, though, I will say I'm very, very happy for Parnell Motley specifically. That guy deserves everything that's coming his way. He's a great dude. Obviously got out the mud, and for him to go to Tampa Bay, a contender, a place that I think he's going to have a very real opportunity to contribute, just really happy for him. So it's fascinating to watch all of this play out, but I was very excited to see those guys get drafted. And obviously, as a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up, I'm pretty pleased with how that all turned out as well.
Yeah, shout out to Parnell Motley, because if you pick off Tom Brady in practice, just keep the ball. Just keep the ball. just don't say anything. Just kind of walk off, put it away. Maybe make Brady sign it after the fact. But now that's a really interesting and fun situation. Also, they need the cornerback help, so he has an opportunity to make that team, like, sincerely. So that's cool. Let's go to the draft, and we'll get to, let's just go in order. 17th overall pick, CeeDee Lamb to your Dallas Cowboys. News today is he is going to wear the same number as Drew Pearson, as Michael Irvin, as Antonio Bryant, if you're a real Cowboys fan.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, Dez Bryant. He's going to wear the 88. I'm so excited about this, and I love Will McClay and Mike McCarthy, in that Mike McCarthy said to Will McClay, get the best players that you possibly can. I will make them fit the system, or make the system fit the players, which is not what the Ginger Clapper was doing. I don't think we've actually talked about this, but I couldn't stand that dude as a head coach. I couldn't wait for him to get fired, and I was very loud about it. Same thing with Scott Linehan. That's why I'm like, LSU fans, good luck. Good luck with that. But CeeDee Lamb is going to have an outstanding year. I'm speaking it into existence. It also means that Oklahoma has quite a battle that it wanted to have between, I thought, perhaps Jadon Haselwood and Theo Wease for the spot left vacant by him. And now it seems like it's Theo Wease and maybe Marvin Mims, perhaps?
Yeah, you'd have to think that if Theo Howard gets healthy in time, which Lincoln Riley has indicated in the past that that's a potential option, he could contend for that spot. Obviously, we could go on and on. I'm sure you're not going to do a whole podcast about CeeDee Lamb to the Dallas Cowboys, but the vacancy that he has created by leaving the program is incredibly interesting. And then obviously the news of Jadon Haselwood injured this off season just makes it that much more intriguing to follow. I think obviously, if I'm betting, it's going to be Theo Wease. It's going to put him opposite Charleston Rambo. I think Rambo's going to be in for a very solid year, but obviously we know what CeeDee Lamb was able to accomplish in that X position. And so for that reason, I think when you're looking for who can best follow suit and fill that role, it has to be Wease, right? I mean, the guy has shown probably more than all three of those talented wide receivers that he can produce at a high level. Obviously, kind of the emerging game for him was Baylor down in Waco. And so with Haselwood, if he is unable to recuperate that quickly, which I think we can all anticipate, if Theo Howard is out, then I would say Wease fills the spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I also thought that Wease was the most ready-made player of that receiving group, including Austin Stogner. I thought he was perhaps the best of the four from my evaluation. Now, I know that people feel some kind of way about Trajan Bridges because he can play three different positions, but I'm saying Wease could play three different positions. He just happens to be 6'3", 210, and he's a big body. He's a tremendous route runner, and he doesn't drop passes, right? That's the big part about that I think gets understated about his game. And he's coming out of an Allen high school that has produced nothing but players and stars, from Kyler Murray to Greg Little to Lee Morris, and on it goes, because that's just a powerhouse down there. So I got to believe it's him, and I think that's the silver lining, is he knows now it's got to be him for the foreseeable future, right? I mean, at best, you're talking about Trajan Bridges coming back after 5 games. We still think that right now he's operating under suspension. If they get that overturned, then they get that overturned. But yeah, I gotta believe it's Theo Wease, because you would want to give Marvin Mims an opportunity, one, to not have to be thrust into playing right away, but also I'm not so sure that he doesn't end up playing in the slot, And this is going to be a really interesting year at receiver for the reasons that you mentioned with Theo Howard. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. Obi Obialo is a wild card about where he's going to play. Could he be that wide tight end? Could he play outside, inside? And of course, Charleston Rambo's just going to have to be the guy, right? And I think that is even more clearer than it was. Like, I think the last time that Riley spoke just going into spring practice, it was when we were going to have spring practice. It was, now Rambo's a leader whether he wants to be or not. And I was going, okay, does Charleston know that? And I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see. What do you think?
Oh, I'm very excited, because I think Rambo has the physical and natural tools to excel at that position. It's just we haven't really seen him in a situation where he's constantly the go-to guy. He's kind of played that second fiddle to CeeDee Lamb, or he was kind of the younger brother of Lamb and Marquise Brown. And now for him to take this kind of opportunity and receive this sort of platform, I think he's in for a big year. I just think that his natural combination of speed, and I really do believe he's kind of underrated in terms of tracking the football when it's in the air. I think he's really good at that. And so with that in mind, and with the Jadon Haselwood situation, Rambo's going to get even more targets. And I think as a result, you're going to see this guy truly erupt in the Big 12 Conference, and maybe even further, because you saw him, that opportunity against Alabama, really excel for the reasons I mentioned. He just has such great ability and talent that is showcased whenever you give him the chance. So I think this season he's going to do exactly that, and I can't wait to see what all he can come up with production-wise.